Okay, this is going to be part 14. I'm going to cover a lot of the Roswell Corona crash. Before I do that, though, I wanted to show you this picture again. It garnered a lot of interest in the last video that I showed this. And just to show you that this is not me adding it in, we're going to do a step-by-step as I change the colors. So there's the hues I've changed. You can already see the 24 in the middle of the carpet in green, in felt tip pen. And then we go to saturation after we've changed everything. And we can see the, I'll show you. You can see the 3M now. You can see the, I mean, if you can't see the 24 now, I don't know what to tell you. But this is all that was done. It was just the hues. Here's the Jack Dempsey Terrier. Now, if I hit cancel, step backwards, step backwards, step backwards, step backwards. There's the original. Let's do this right on the video. Remember, there's only two colors in this, red and yellow. So already we can see the 3M right here. We can already see it emerging. And it's a matter of like adjusting these colors back and forth until you get the correct value. Then you hit OK. Then you go back in again. And you go to green. I don't know if green is one of them. You can also see there's something up here. It looks like the Yellow Submarine from the Beatles album is what it looks like. Let's see here. Yeah, see there you can also see Barry Denon at some point. He actually has two horns in the Masonic sash. Let's see here. Now you get the idea. You can see this writing here too. It says AE 723 to the 24th. I don't know what that means, but and you can see the Jack Dempsey Terrier over here again, which is a reference to Jack Dempsey the boxer, and it's one of all things Jack. And we have boxers. James Forrestal was a boxer. Johnny Carson was a boxer. Tony Burton was a boxer. We have Kubrick's first movie, Day of the Fight, with the Cartier twins. So anyway, I'm done with this. I just wanted to show you that, though, just so you think I pulled a fast one or something. Here's another one here I messed around with. This one isn't as conclusive, but you can see a little bear on his shirt. You can see a little guy here with the head, and he's waving. And I'm not sure what this means here. I know obviously we have Smokey the Bear as part of the puzzle. And so these puzzles are in the entire movie. They're not in. There's the bear. And there's the little guys on his tie here. This little guy here. Anyway, I wanted to show you that. Let's close this out. No, I did not want to save. No. No. Here's the support wires on the Apollo missions. There's the Timberline Lodge. It was a Works Progress Administration job by FDR. Here's Stanley Kubrick's woven wicker chair at home. And this is Anya, the girl that dies, his first daughter. This is Look Magazine, an issue where they talked about blueprint for a flying saucer with the honeymooners on the front. And here's Kubrick's photo expose on Betsy von Furstenberg. It happens that this episode or this issue has an article on flying saucers, myth or maze. And we notice she has the woven handmade wicker hat. All right, now let's open the Roswell file here. Select. I hope this works. Okay, Kubrick makes a movie called One-Eyed Jacks starring Marlon Brando. And obviously we went over One-Eyed Jacks already. It's part of the clue set. I also want to mention there's a One-Eyed Jacks bar in David Lynch's series. David Lynch's series Twin Peaks. We have a One-Eyed Jacks bar. David Lynch is alchemical, just like Kubrick was. You know, he's using a variation of the language. So let's get back to One-Eyed Jacks here. This is Billy the Kid, and this is Pat Garrett here. Pat Garrett was the man that shot Billy the Kid. So Kubrick does a movie on Billy the Kid, and starring, you know, it has Slim Pickens in it, it has Marlon Brando in it, and it's like a veiled retelling of the Billy the Kid story. So we've got Billy the Kid is in our puzzle. We already know that. And another thing I want to mention is Woody Strode, the first black football player, and Jackie Robinson, the first black baseball player, were also UCLA teammates. They were on the track team. Woody Strode was a high jumper, and Jackie Robinson was a long jumper. So we have Operation Long Jump, High Jump, which is the whole 1947 trip down to the South Pole. And, you know, the name of the mission is the same thing these guys were in college. They were long jumpers and high jumpers. This gentleman here, he designs this little figurine here. I'm going to call it a figurine until the end of this, and then you'll understand why. He designs this little figurine. This little figurine is the only piece of art that's on the moon. The first, only, and last piece of art that's on the moon. And it represents all the fallen astronauts. And by fallen, I mean murdered intentionally. So he produces this little art piece here. And the Apollo 15 astronauts bring this with them and a little plaque with them to the moon to commemorate the murdered fallen astronauts. So let's see if we can find... here's Woody Strode. He was a UCLA alumnus. He was in the track team. He set several records in shot put and discus and high jump. So he's not just the first black football player, and he's not just the guy that does movies with One-Eyed Jack John Ford. He's also a high jumper. Here he is in Kubrick's movie. You know, he's got the trident. This is Neptune's attribute. We're always looking for Greek gods' attributes that are hidden in movies. And so we have a trident here. You know, we noticed that the Apollo 11 mission lands right near the Descartes. So this is Cartesian geometry. You don't need any fancy geometry to explain the Earth. It's you know, it's flat. You can use length, width, and height. You don't need to do curvature. You don't need to do that. So that we have Copernicus, the Copernican model, Descartes, Cartesian, and also there's one missing down here, but it doesn't really matter. And obviously this didn't open all the pictures. So let's go back to this guy. So he creates this figurine for the Apollo 15 mission. The Apollo 15 mission, remember, is the mission that launches on Stanley's 42nd birthday, the same day that Diane Arbus dies. So the famous artist Diane Arbus, you know, who does all these pictures here. There's the famous twins picture, and here they are older. That's the day she dies. The exact date and year, July 26, 1971, Diane Arbus dies. The day the Apollo 15 mission launches, Stanley's 42nd birthday. It's the Falcon is in it. Here we have Kubrick's Columbia University pictorial that makes it into Look magazine. So we have the Columbia University. We don't just pull that out of thin air. Kubrick takes pictures of it, and it's in the magazine. So Look magazine pictures are a very big part of this puzzle. And you need to do your homework because there was lots of pictures Kubrick took. This is very clever. This is in Toy Story, and it's a picture of a garbage truck, and it says room 237, and we see an egg crate up here. Well, 12 men landed, supposedly, but we know they didn't. So this is telling you we're 12 short of a dozen. It's all a crock of crap. It's garbage. Let's go. Okay, so we covered Billy the Kid. Billy the Kid was a Corona, New Mexico celebrity. You know, that's where he's from. He hung out there. He was shot there in the Lincoln Forest. So then we go from there. We have the smoky-colored carpet in the Overlook. Well, Smokey the Bear was a little bear that was rescued by the forest rangers. Remember I told you the forest rangers would come back again? Well, he was rescued from a fire, and he was partially burned, and he became a celebrity, and he became the spokesperson for, only you can prevent forest fires. So he's from Lincoln County Forest. He was saved in Lincoln County Forest. Billy the Kid was from Lincoln County Forest. So we have two people that are connected to Lincoln County, which is related to the Lincoln County Wars, is what they were called. So let's go down here. Here's Pat Garrett. Pat Garrett is the man that shoots Billy the Kid. Here's Mac Brazel. Mac Brazel is the man that finds the wreckage from the UFO crash. And he goes into town with the wreckage and he tells everybody about it. And then like a day later, he stops talking about it and recants everything he said. And he says if he ever finds another one, he's not going to say a damn word about it because they threatened him. Well, the interesting thing is Mac Brazel is related to Wayne Brazel, which I have a picture of him here somewhere. At least I thought I had a picture of him somewhere. No, I don't. Here's another interesting photo. This is Werner von Braun in Corona, New Mexico, at the Billy the Kid Museum. So that's weird. And those are all the Nazi rocket scientists there. Here we go. Pat Garrett. This is where Pat Garrett was murdered. He was shot by Wayne Brazel. Wayne Brazel is Mac Brazel's uncle. So Mac Brazel finds the UFO site. His uncle Wayne shoots Pat Garrett and murders him. And Pat Garrett is the man that shoots Billy the Kid. And all three of these things happen in the Lincoln County Forest in Corona, New Mexico. Mac Brazel had a ranch there. And the same ranch that the UFO crashes on is the same ranch that Pat Garrett gets murdered in by Wayne Brazel, his uncle. And then we have, of course, the Smokey the Bear is from Lincoln County Forest. He was rescued by forest rangers. We have the smoky-colored carpet and The Shining. There's about 50 different bear references in that movie, and you're looking for Smokey the Bear. And let's see what else we got here. Here's the Apollo hardware at the Corona Fair. So we're talking about Corona, New Mexico, the Corona typewriter, the L.C. Smith Corona shotgun, the Corona Flushing, Queens, New York, where the Unisphere is, the horseshoe, the Corona Borealis from the Minotaur myth. I mean, we're given Corona 50 different ways. So, how do we know we're looking for Pat Garrett and Corona? How do we know we're looking for Mac Brazel and Corona? How do we know we're looking for Smokey the Bear and Corona? Because we're being told this 50 different ways. Here's another birthday clue. Happy birthday, Mr. President. This is what probably got her killed right there. She was getting too overt. Let's go back to the Apollo 15. This little Kubrick was left on the moon. Little figurines like that are models of people are called Kubricks. So Kubrick leaves a Kubrick on the moon. And this is the man that makes it. And on this, and near this little figurine, Kubrick, there's a little plaque, and it lists all the names of the dead astronauts, which is what I'm trying to find right now. I don't see it. I thought, here it is. So this is a little plaque, Apollo 15, the mission that launches on Stanley's 42nd birthday, leaves on the moon, and it has a list of all the astronauts. We see Virgil, Gus Grissom here. We see Ed White here. These are the Apollo 1 astronauts. We also see Theodore Friedman. Theodore Friedman died in his VW Bug. He had an accident in it. A lot of these men had bizarre accidents. So use your own judgment on why you think they had bizarre accidents. I think I know why they had bizarre accidents. Marilyn Monroe worked at Lookout Labs, and she actually worked at Lookout Labs with John Wayne. And she never says what she worked on, but she does mention she worked at Lookout Labs. Lookout Labs is the one in Laurel Canyon, in the secret underground military proving ground, or military movie studio. This is the Ramey memo, okay? And there's a guy, he does do a search on Ramey memo analysis, and he does an analysis of this memo. This is the memo that General Ramey is holding in his hand when they're displaying the balloon debris, which is a crock. It wasn't balloon, they showed you balloon debris, but it wasn't a balloon that crashed there. Here's another clever one. We got John Malkovich again, and we got the U.S. flag. Well, we're always doing 6 out of 7. 6 out of 7 Apollo missions land, 6 out of 7 continents are real. The 7th that surrounds you, the Laurel Corona, on and on. 1 dwarf dopey, 7 dwarf, 6 out of 7, 1 out of 7. So we have the U.S. flag. Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red stripes, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 red stripes and 6 white stripes. 6 out of 7. Here's the sync to a movie called Nosferatu, and I think I have the picture in here somewhere. Damn, where the hell did it go? Anyway, this is a sync with the movie Nosferatu. It's a very famous movie about vampirism. And as Wendy's coming up the stairs, it mimics the shadow from the movie Nosferatu. So this is another vampirism clue that we're looking at. We had the Alex with the vampire teeth. Now we have this. This is Alex Koval. This is a picture that's seen in The Shining. It's called Woman and Terrier. So we have the Jack Dempsey Terrier, but a terrier is also a person that works with fabrics and cloths and sewing. So, this is a clue to that we're weaving Jungian threads together. It's a terrier. Here we have a link to a Bergman movie. Kubrick writes a letter to Ingmar Bergman, and he tells him that he loves his movies, and he can't say enough about how awesome they are, and he's one of the most exciting directors of his time, yada, yada, yada. He's just really gushing about Bergman. Well, one of the reasons he's gushing about Bergman is Bergman does this movie, The Seventh Seal. So once we have another 7 here. And in the movie, this gentleman who is a knight is approached by death, and he's told that his time is up. He has, he's all done now. He has to come with death. And he says, well, I'll come with you, but on one condition. He goes, I hear you're a chess player, and I want to play you in a game of chess. And if I beat you, I get to live. If I lose, you get to take my soul. And in the movie, you think he's doing this for his own personal reasons, but in reality, the only reason he does this is to distract Death from a young couple with a baby. Death was looking at them, and he was like, oh, gee, maybe I should take their souls too. So this gentleman challenges him to chess. He knows he's going to lose before he even starts the game. This represents Kubrick. Kubrick knows he cannot beat Saturn, the god of time, in his puzzle. He knows at some point they're going to come for him, or his daughter, which is what they did. They came for Anya. They killed him, and then they killed Anya. So this movie really fits Kubrick's allegorical puzzle very well because, we have Saturn, this is the Grim Reaper, Saturn, Thoth, Death. He has many names, but he's always the same. He always carries the sickle. We have the sickle cell and Full Metal Jacket. So he challenges Death to a game of chess. This is a very good movie. It's subtitled, but it's still a good movie. Even with the subtitles, it's an excellent movie. And the acting is fantastic. And of course, we have the Jungian black and white, and he holds the chess piece out to select the color. And of course, Death gets black, and they talk about it's very fitting that he got black. So this movie is the reason Kubrick sends a gushing fan letter to Ingmar Bergman. Bergman dies on October 31st, Halloween Day. So it's another October 31st date. So if you get a chance, watch this movie, not only because it's part of this puzzle, but because it's a really good movie in Bergman. I wish I spoke the language, but because it loses quite a bit in the translation. But even so, even with the translation, it's an excellent movie. The Roadrunner is New Mexico's bird. So we have a clue to New Mexico. New Mexico, the New Mexico vegetable is the pepper. So we have Sergeant Pepper's. The state motto is red or black, red or green. So we've got a lot of clues to Corona. We've got a lot of clues to New Mexico. Wendy wears a Mexican jacket with Mexicans in sombreros and cactuses on it. So a lot of clues to we're looking for the Corona Roswell, New Mexico crash. Here's Pat Garrett's murder site. He was murdered in the Lincoln Forest on Wayne Brazel's land. Wayne Brazel's land becomes Mac Brazel's land where the UFO crashes. And, the whole UFO lore. This all happens in the Lincoln Forest, the same place that Smokey the Bear is rescued. So we have every one of these events, Pat Garrett, Billy the Kid, the Corona UFO crash, and Smokey the Bear, all share one thing in common. They all happen in the same forest. So we have James Forrestal. So it's a interesting little link how he does this, but they all happen in the Lincoln Forest, and we have James Forrestal, the 1947 man who's a member of MJ-12 is what he is. And I think I have a picture of that in here. To God, geez, where did all my pictures go? Here's the Nosferatu sink. Won't open. Here's the Nosferatu sink with Wendy. So you have, I don't even know where it is now. By the way, Lord of the Rings is alchemical. I don't know if you figured that out yet, but there's a lot of... They're using the same exact language in Lord of the Rings. And that's kind of the end of this right now. But I'll do a little synopsis of all the Corona, New Mexico clues and put them in a list and add it at the end of this video. And that's it. Thank you.